Monday Night Football in Mexico City. Let's go. Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Craig Bennett, aka Cash Cake, back with another NFL Prize Picks video. And yes, we're doing Monday Night Football. We'll go through all the plays, kind of talk about them, give you some stats to hopefully help you in your research process to make your decisions. And yes, the game is going to be played in Mexico City. So many injuries on the Arizona side. We're waiting on Nuke. We're waiting on Murray. So it really depends on those guys how a lot of this game is going to go. Because if those guys are out, I don't see how Colt McCoy is going to be able to lead this Arizona team. They're already without Ertz. They're just going to be struggling massively on the offensive side of the ball. So a lot of that has to do with some of these injury news. We'll go into that. This video is brought to you by Oddsjam.com. I'm going to show you a little bit what they're about, and they have this screen feature that shows you a lot of odds for you that are shopping those odds, both on player props and on regular plays, and we'll dive into that a little bit in this video and kind of show you what they are all about. So hey, if you like these videos, do me a favor, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot, and we'll keep knocking these videos out, and hopefully it helps you in your research process. Let's get after it. All right, as you can tell, I have Prizepicks desktop version up here. They got a mobile app you can download as well. We'll go through this. One thing I forgot to mention, though, I wanted to mention, Thanksgiving's coming up. It's up in a couple days. If you want to get access to what we have over in Patreon, I'm going to be doing some giveaways for people in our Discord that are not members, and also going to do a giveaway for our subscribers as well. So on both sides of it. So if you want a chance to win maybe, maybe a week, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for non-subscribers. If you just want to check us out, get in our Discord. It's a free Discord. You can join it and look out for the giveaways that I'm going to do for this Thanksgiving coming up. So again, you can join that free Discord in the link below. And if you want to sign up as a Patreon member, again, you have this. We also have the Plus EV tool for Prize Picks, as well as the models, basically NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball, World Cup. We have all these in there, and it'll kind of help you make your decisions when picking your price picks and creating your slips every day. So really cool tool, all of it for basically the price of lunch. And again, going to do some giveaways for the subs as well. So yeah, Thanksgiving's coming around. It's a good time of year. So if you want to join, or again, you just want to join that Discord so you can see the giveaway I'll do for non-subscribers as well. So let's first dive into this. Before we dive into this game, I wanted to talk about this taco here that they have. Now, this one's Justin Jefferson over half receiving yard. This is a free one. We know this. We got a lot of time here. I wouldn't use this until we've got all the Thursday night football games up. So I wouldn't use this for tonight at all. I'd wait till we have a lot more. If you're trying to use this for a bigger slip, just wait. I mean, we got almost 90 hours to use this thing. So don't use this until we have, more plays here. Don't be putting it in just the Monday Night Football here on something that could be completely one-sided. Kind of how we saw the Cowboys game beat the crap out of the Vikings. A lot of those plays on the Cowboys side didn't pan out because that game did not go as planned. But yeah, we'll dive into this real quick, and we'll just talk about, again, that taco play. I would save that. We might as well start at receiving yards. There's no reason to. Like I said, you're not going to see a whole lot on the Arizona side because we're waiting on injuries, right? Marquise Brown is not going to be back from injury reserve, so they're not going to have him. DeAndre Hopkins, Nuke, is a hamstring injury. He's questionable for this game. Kyler Murray, also a hamstring injury, is questionable for this game. And then we talked about Zach Ertz. He is out for the remainder of the season. So they are really hurting on the offensive side of the ball. And if those guys sit, that's why there's hardly nothing up here. Those other wide receivers that they have, yards will be different. So I understand why they don't have anything up here. So it's really hard to kind of gauge how the game will go, because if those guys are out, man, I don't know how you take a lot of the overs on San Francisco passing or receiving, because they can just run the ball if they get up, and there's no reason for them to throw. So kind of have to take that with a grain of salt, right? So Christian McCaffrey, since coming over, has done pretty well here. He's 55 and 36 and a half the last two games for receiving yards. He has gone over this in 5 of his last 6 games. Again, my only concern here is, are we going to have a competitive game if those guys are out for Arizona side. So that's where I struggle with him a little bit. Now, if we look at Connor a little bit, Connor has not won over this in only one of his last 5 games, but they might have to use him a little bit more here if they're playing from behind or if those guys are out. So if you want to take a chance on him, the volume isn't really there for him, but he did have 5 and 3 targets in these games. But again, going up since San Francisco defense, they're ranked number 1 in rushing yards a game allowed at 82. Passing yards a game, again, 24th at 198. So they're a good defensive team. So, but if they're going to be playing from behind, maybe Connor can get there at 19 and a half. I really want to see what those guys are going to do before I make a ton of slips here, because seriously, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are going to change the whole landscape of how this game goes. Deebo Samuel at 52 and a half, same kind of thing with him. I would lean under on this one, honestly. The last 2 games, 42 and 24. He can take one of the house at any time. That's your only concern with him. But having Christian McCaffrey back, having Christian McCaffrey here, he doesn't have to do absolutely everything, right? His targets is 7 and 6. The last 2 games, still getting some targets, but I don't know how much they're actually going to need him. Arizona's defense is trash. We know that. They allow 110 yards a game on the ground, 250 yards in the air, second in the NFL in completion percentage allowed at almost 69%. So they should be able to do whatever they want here. Again, it all comes down to exactly how this game script's going to go. So I would lean less on him just for that in particular. You could say the same thing about Ayuk if you wanted to. Ayuk's got there a little bit more, way more consistent, went over it in the last 5 games. So, again, I don't know if they're going to need him, though. So I would just lean more Samuel, less than him. George Kittle, same kind of thing. Really hasn't got there the last 2 games, but they, I don't know if they need these guys. So in particular, I would just kind of stay away from the situation until we know before I'd make those slips. I think the lines would move a little bit, but there's so much risk involved trying to make these plays without having the news on those guys. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, 243 and a half over under for passing. I think you can easily take the under on this one. Now, line is at 247 and a half at open at, so moved at 4 points. Like I said, Arizona has a trash defense. They're ranked 9th in the NFL in yards given up per game, passing wise at 247. I just don't think they're going to have to do it. He's only gone over this for the season 3 times, and I just don't think they're going to need to pass a ton. Now, they can do whatever they want to do, right? But do they really, you think it's going to be a competitive game? Now, if Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins did play, maybe I don't take this, but if those guys are out, there's no way he's going to get there. It just all comes down to those 2 guys. Like I said, a lot of this is, I'm going to be saying the same thing and be like a broken record, but that's just how it is. Let's look at rushing yards real quick, and then we'll go over and check out oddsjam.com and kind of show you a little bit what they are about. Rushing yards, we got Jimmy G at 1.5. Now he's cleared this in the last 4 games. But is Jimmy G going to have to run very much here? Probably not. 1.5 yards is not very many. 1 scramble. How much pressure do they really get on him? I guess is the case. I don't know. This Arizona team, I think they're going to struggle tonight. So kind of stay away from that one. Christian McCaffrey at 65 and a half. I don't know if we need to go there at this one again. They have no problem, throwing out, they could throw out Elijah Mitchell. Like, they ran him a ton as well last week. So he had 18 carries last week. So that's my worry, is if they get up pretty heavily here, do they need Christian McCaffrey? Because again, last week he only had 14 carries and Elijah Mitchell had the bulk of them. They're not going to try to get CMC hurt here. So that's my concern with CMC. If they got up, if it's a competitive game, yeah, they'll use them. But if they got up, they have no problem using Elijah Mitchell. They showed it last week. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, he's always used multiple backs, and even having a back like CMC, he's not going to just work him to death here, especially in a game that might not be super competitive. James Conner, 47 and a half. His line was at 50 and a half when it opened. Now he's gone over this in 3 of the last 4 games. But again, if they get down, San Francisco's got a really good rush defense. I would look at taking the under on this one. They might have to do a lot of passing. So it's definitely a spot I would look at taking the under. Again, it got pushed down at 3 already, but it's a spot I'm not going to be too high on this Arizona side. Rushing the ball for sure. Like you said, uh, San Francisco only gives up 82 yards a game on the ground. Now James Conner, did have 21 rushes last week, but only had 69 yards. So I just don't think they're gonna have a choice to throw the ball if they get down pretty heavily. So I kind of lean the under on this one. Reception wise, again, same kind of thing I talked about with yards. Really depends if those guys are playing. So I'm gonna kind of just skip this. CMC in a competitive game, I always want to lean over, but if they're gonna use Mitchell a lot, maybe it's a spot you take the under with him. But again, it truly depends on those other guys. So it's going to be hard to take here. Let's head on over to oddsjam.com real quick and kind of show you what they're all about and their screen. All right, oddsjam.com. If you want to sign up for this and get access to this, you can sign up and use the promo code CashKeg and get 25% off your first month there. The link is in the description below. But again, this kind of just shows you a little bit, odds shopping. If you're going to look at, I have player receiving yards up here. So like we're talking about going in the receiving yards section, maybe if the game's not super competitive, you want to lean, under on Deebo Samuel here. So if you're looking at the books, they have 142 books to select. So you can decide if you want to narrow it down just to the books you use, and it's going to give you the best odds. Now, this is an Australia book right here because they got a bunch of different ones you can choose from. And yeah, if you're in Australia right now and you see it at 56.5, I would definitely take the under here. You see a lot of these books at 50.5, some at 52.5, 50, some of these at 54.5. And this is where a nice option to have this, because you need to shop around. You need to find the value. If you're going to be competitive at this and make money, you got to find value here. So it's a really nice, easy tool. Again, you can set up your different sports books, figure out what you want player prop wise, or if you just want to do totals, money line, stuff like that. Very simple way to do this. But yeah, check those guys out. Oddsjam.com. A link is in the description below. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about Prizepicks. All right, like I said, reception-wise, I'm just going to stay away from this until I know the news. I'm just not going to guess. Punts. Punts. Are we going to see a ton of punts? Might see a ton of punts if we're looking from the Arizona side, from this defense. I would definitely lean over Andy Lee punting more than 4.5 times. I think they're going to struggle moving the ball. Even if they have Kyler Murray out there, they're going to be getting after him. How they paid that guy that much money is beyond me. I like taking over on this one. I'm not going to touch anything on Mitch on the San Francisco side. They should be able to move the ball, no problem on this Arizona defense. But yeah, Andy Lee, I could see them punting a ton here, especially if Colt McCoy is going to be leading this team. I definitely like the over on Andy Lee, 4.5 punts. They're going to struggle a little bit. So yeah, I'm fine with it either way, but definitely more if Colt McCoy is going to be in action there. Kind of look at kicking wise, Robbie Gould, 1.5 made. See what he's done over the last 3 games. He's won over 2 of the last 3. They might just be scoring touchdowns here. I'm going to stay away from this. I would lean over if you're really wanting to take this, but honestly, I think there's better options to go. Kicking points at 7.5. One of those things where I think it's very tough as well, just because you're going to need some of those field goals to get those points. And if you just end up scoring a bunch of touchdowns, they might not need them. So I think I would stay away from the kicking in this game. Fantasy score wise, this is again where I struggle with a lot of these. Elijah Mitchell, maybe more than 8 fantasy score here. Again, if they get up heavy and they run with him a ton and he gets in the box once, you're golden. But this is a game script play where you think that it's going to be more one-sided, and they go heavy Elijah Mitchell here towards the end of the game. He gets you a touchdown, easy over on that one. But that's where you have to kind of feel the game script's going to go. I'm going to leave Robbie Gould alone. CMC 20.5 feels high again. It just depends on how you feel like the game's going to go, right? I mean, he ain't going to do throwing this game against LA, I think he had the triple threat there. He had the passing, receiving, and rushing touchdown. If you think it's going to be a competitive game, I would go over on this. But if you don't, I would definitely lean under on the 20.5. Even if he gets a touchdown, maybe doesn't get there in yards, that's where I'd lean under. Same with Deebo Samuel at 15. Since he came over, CMC came over, he just hasn't quite got there. And again, I don't think they're going to need him in this game. I really don't. So I would lean under on both of these, CMC and Samuel, just because I'm not sure the game is going to be competitive. So that's what I'm really looking at. I'm not going to go too much in this. Rush touchdown, CMC, I can see him getting one. He's got one in both games he's played. He could get it early as well. So if you want to take the over on that one, I'm fine with it. But with him playing Elijah Mitchell as well, I still think you get a rush touchdown out of CMC early in the game here. So I don't mind that one. Pass touchdowns, Jimmy G, no, I would lean under on this. I just don't think that they're going to really need him, but they should be able to do whatever they want to. And that's the concern at the 1.5 point. And that's kind of what I'm going to get at. Sacks 3 for San Francisco. If Colt McCoy's back there, I definitely like it. Even Murray. I mean, Murray's a little bit more elusive and can get away from it. But if Colt McCoy starts, I definitely like looking at this 49ers at over 3 sacks. But that's what we're kind of looking at here. Again, this entire game is really tough to look at or cap or try to give great advice on until we know what DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray are going to do. So it's really going to be hard to make some slips until we know that. I think there's a few things we can look at. Like I said, Jimmy G at less at 243.5. I just don't think they're going to need it. Andy Lee punts I kind of like as well. James Conner, that is low, but again, if San Francisco gets up early, they're going to have to throw the ball more. So I just kind of lean under on that one. And then Deebo is just the kind of thing is, do they really need these guys? So that's what we got. Again, if you want to check out everything we got, if you want to join us in the Patreon streets and check out everything we got for PicksWise or the Plus EV tools or the models that we have, see where the model is going to go. You can check that out. And again, join the free Discord. We're going to have a giveaway there for members and non-members. So I'll see you guys in there. And like always, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.